Hey guys, it's Logan here with Hydra572. I really should make a flashlight review sheet because this stuff is starting to look pretty Bush League. I must admit this video was a little bit further down on my list. I'm only making it now because this flashlight seems bound and determined to ensure that it ends up being lost. The Streamlight MicroStream before it has already been lost, so the only flashlight that I really have to compare it to is my Maglite XL50. Great light, but pretty different in terms of its intended usage. Let's go ahead and get started on the Fenix LD01. There were two primary considerations for me when buying this flashlight. The first is that it was very small and therefore convenient for EDC. It is less than 3 inches long and 1/2 inch in diameter. Go ahead and make your jokes, I'll wait. Okay, the second consideration is that it uses a standard battery. This uses a AAA, which is much more available to me than CR123s or any other battery like that. I could see going up to a rechargeable battery at some point, but I don't really want to mess around with less than standard battery types. I just don't think they're very available. They seem like they're more expensive. It's just something that I'm not ready to get into yet. AAAs I have around the house all the time for, like remotes and shit, so I can easily get to one for my flashlight if and when I need to replace. This thing has 3 modes, or 3 brightness levels. The brightest one is bright enough to make a difference if you're in pitch darkness, or if you really need to look inside something. This is not the kind of flashlight that you can shine into a shadowy area in daytime and really get a whole lot more detail and fidelity. In fact, you can barely even see the stream on this thing in daytime. I'm hoping, yeah, against the paper we're going to do pretty good. And you guys see there, that is how you turn the flashlight on and off, is by screwing it like so. You guys remember that I've talked about before, a prereq for me on a flashlight is that I like it to have this sort of push button type action, and you can still get that on this flashlight by screwing it pretty close to turning on, or screwing it on and then screwing it off just a little, and then just pressing with your thumb on the back of the flashlight while you grip up here near the front is enough to turn it on. That's important for me for ease of use. Here we see a nice little clip. I'll take you guys in a little closer. That I'm pretty sure I'm using incorrectly. I think you're supposed to have it pointing the other way and clipped on around here, because I had to bend it a little bit, make it a little bit wider before it would clip on where I've got it. But I like having very little of this flashlight sticking out of my pocket. That is also an ease of use and a EDC type concern. The clip is very nice in that it prevents the thing from rolling around, because it can really only roll one full rotation before the clip would stop it, and that's important to me. I tend not to like flashlights that you can just roll straight off the log right like that. This has the Cree XPE R4 LED, and if I'm going to keep reviewing flashlights, I should really start pretending to know what stuff like that means. I hear the name Cree a lot when you're talking about LEDs. I assume it's good stuff on a flashlight that costs this much money. I've gotten good battery life out of the thing. Like I said, the brightness is decent. It's certainly usable if you're in the dark and trying to find something. It helps a whole lot. And if you're looking down, say, into the magwell of an AR-15, this thing has certainly enough brightness. Sometimes so much that I need to turn it to the medium or low setting so that I don't get too much glare. So there is enough brightness there. I would say much less than any other flashlight I've used before it. This thing, it does not scale down its brightness as the battery starts to die. You see a little bit of stuttering in performance as your battery starts to die. I've been carrying the thing for quite a long time, I don't know, 6-8 months, and I've only switched the battery out 4 times, and I use this thing quite a lot. The coating, and it's not really a coating, it's actually anodized, is very nice. It is much more scratch resistant than any other flashlight that I have used. You guys saw on my Streamlight and on my Maglite, the paint had started to come off just from being in my pocket so much. Not really the case on the Fenix LD01. However, if you do try, you can scratch through the anodization. It's not, anything incredible, but pocket wear doesn't affect it nearly as much. So the thing still looks pretty dang new to me. In terms of price point, you can get the thing down around $40 if you shop. If you're not discriminate, you could probably end up paying up to $60 for the thing. I think I actually used my REI rebate back around a year ago and ended up buying the thing for like 65 bucks. That's a pretty exorbitant price for this flashlight, but if you shop around, check out your eBay and Amazon options, and this is actually an item that if you just type the name into Google, it'll give you the Google shopping options. That is very nice. You typically don't get that with knives. So you can shop around, get this thing down around $40, $43, I think was the lowest price that I saw today. That is a pretty dang reasonable price for this flashlight. The one real gripe that I have, I wish that there was sort of an inlet to put the clip in, and I wish that it was made for this orientation. That would be a pretty high cost adding feature, I think, because you would either need to mold the aluminum differently or you would need to do some pretty in-depth machining afterward. It's not that bad the way it is. I took it off earlier today, stretched it back out, clamped it back down, and press fitted it on quite a bit tighter, and now it is pretty dang secure. It was never really a problem to begin with, but like I said, this thing's been falling out of my pocket a lot, and in doing so a couple times it's gotten clipped on my car seat. The clip got kind of torqued around. Wanted to go ahead and fix it. It was not that big of an ordeal, and I don't think you'll find it to be too much of an ordeal to switch the clip around into this orientation if you want sort of the tip up equivalent, I suppose, for flashlights, because you can just pull it out of your pocket, drop right into using it. I find it pretty convenient in this orientation. Another gripe that I have is that there is no strobe function on the thing, and I do enjoy strobe functions just as one more tool in your belt if you ever needed to defend yourself. I see that as a very bare bones form of protection to be able to shine a bright light in somebody's face when their eyes are adjusted for dark. Maybe you can get away, make that a little bit more of a viable option. We don't need to get into the tactics of the whole thing right now. Suffice to say, it would be nice to have, but not a whole lot of small flashlights do have them. I would like to see it, especially on this being a little bit more of a pricey consideration. I believe the Maglite Streamlight options are all quite a bit cheaper. So I would like to see the strobe on a more expensive flashlight. But not having it has not impaired the usage of this thing for its EDC utility functions for me. Overall, it is a pretty dang good EDC tool. Obviously, on the small side, some flashlights get billed as a self-defense implement. I really don't think this one is. This one's just been an EDC tool for me so far. A very high-quality one at that, and it will continue to be my EDC flashlight. I typically can't convince myself to even go up to pen light type size on flashlights, just because in my same left pocket I typically have a flashlight, a knife clipped outside the pocket, and my rather large cell phone. So I like to keep my flashlight very small, and I find that these styles of lights tend to have enough brightness for those utility type functions, whereas the XL50 might come in handy if you were, you know, needing a bit more diameter of your beam, stuff like that, then maybe you need to look into something bigger. Overall, I think these are a pretty dang good compromise, and if it gets an EDC flashlight in your pocket, I think that's great. I think flashlights are one of the spots where a lot of people skimp on their EDC. I'll take you guys in close here, and then we'll finish up with a detail shot. So, there you guys can see, we've got a little bit of checkering around the head of the flashlight. They do give it a flat bottom, so you can stand it up, use it as a candle, so they say. I find that it's typically not so bright that even in the dark, I prefer to set it on top of something and shine it sideways, but that's just me. I have rambled on well past long enough. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you're looking for a very small flashlight that uses a standardized battery, the Fenix LD01 seems to be a damn good choice. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more of the same.